No.
Walk away.
I get one Monday a month.
I have medical issues.
No Mondays a month.
City council is always open to come to our meetings.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Andy. Yes.
New business, revisions to chapter 14 and 14A, floodplain and rivers edge. Andy, you want to bring us up to date on that?
Yeah, so Mike, I'm going to hit on you a little bit. This is a little bit new to my desk, but so the federal government recently, it's been going on for a number of years, but they have been redrawing and refining flood maps for the city. The city participates in the National Flood Insurance Program. And so you need to, there's a specific ordinance that you need to adopt, that the city's already adopted, and, which allows them to continue participating in a national flood insurance program. If you're not familiar with flood insurance, if you live within a 100-year floodplain, you're required to have flood insurance, and the rate of that, you can buy it through a normal homeowner's insurance company, but the rate of that is set by the federal government. So the city has to participate in the program in order for people to be eligible to buy flood insurance. It's like, well, I think it's like $500 a year or something like that. It's not horrifically expensive, but it's not cheap. So they looked at our chapters 14 and 14A and said, you guys got to make some changes. So these red lines is pretty much exactly what Eagle gave us as their suggested red lines. Some of these are pretty straightforward. So on page 5 of your packets, the floodplain overlay district edits. So in subsection 1402A, there's a bunch of additions and strikeouts there. That is just updating the map. So instead of using the 1983 map, they're updating to a map that would be effective February 23rd, 2023. There's some kind of minor language adjusting. On the next page in 1404, they made a few changes. Again, most of these are fairly minor. And in 1404A, they added filling, grading, mining, dredging, paving, etc. as something that would be permitted unless, or that would not be permitted unless these standards are met. They updated again, so instead of saying DNR, they updated that as the Eagle. Under B1 is the most significant change. So in your current ordinance, and this has been in there for a long time, they have language. Currently, there's language that says it's got to be 1 foot a bit above base flood. If it's not, then you have to do all this engineering work to make sure it's not going to float away or detach, and it can resist the lateral forces of the water. They took all that out and just said that all new construction has to be 1 foot above base flood area. So they're suggesting that everything else get taken out of that chapter. I think everything else is just updates. So subsection 2, they're updating it to Federal Emergency Management Agency EMA. Again, taking out DNR and replacing it with Eagle. 1407A, all new constructions shall, subsection 1, have the lowest floor, including basement, elevated 1 foot above base flood elevation, which is consistent with what's in there on the previous page. Same thing for 1408 under manufactured home standards. I don't think you might have like one manufactured home that's in the floodplain in east side of town. There's not very many. So most of these aren't going to apply that much. So again, there's just some kind of minor wordsmithing in here that they have suggested. Under River's Edge, on the second to last page of your packet, the only change they've got there is just updating it so it refers to Eagle instead of the DNR, and that's pretty much it. So this is something that, again, they are requiring us to do. This is supposed to be done by February, so our proposal here would be I want to show this to you guys first. We would probably schedule a public hearing for your December Planning Commission meeting, and then we could recommend adoption of the ordinance after that, so we'll take it up either in December, or if not December, then your first January meeting.
We have to have this back to Eagle by February 23rd.
We need to have the attorney look at that, or?
Eagle, she already wrote the
She's
ordinance.
already-
Basically what happened, we approved the ordinance, I sent it to Eagle, and they said, oh, what about your zoning ordinance? Well, you didn't tell me to do that.
Right.
Oh, you gotta do that. That's where we're at. Yeah.
Yep, so I'll work with, I've been talking to the guy from Eagle, so we'll make sure that, only one I'm not 100% sure on, but I was a little surprised is all of this stuff he struck about.
It was a big area to just wipe it right clean.
Yeah, and so I think basically they just don't want anybody building anything below that 1 foot above his base flood, which is probably okay as it is. I'm talking to some, I mean, I know that if you build at or below floodplain, your flood insurance costs are like unbelievably expensive. So there's a huge disincentive to not build below that 1 foot anyways. So I think they just want everyone to have that as their standard, is you can't do that. Only concern I have is there are some places in the city where it's like, I mean, these houses are like 4 feet below base flood. I mean, they're way low.
The valley right here, it runs down the center between Washington and Monroe. That's all in floodplain.
Or we're talking to the people from an ICCF about a property over here on the corner at Jefferson, I think. They're looking at ways, but I mean, same thing, like the bottom floor of that is like 3-4 feet off the ground, and more in the back because of the floodplain. That my only concern there is that for some of those houses that are that far down, is that if that house, if that house burns down, if something happens, like, you're not building anything there, because you're gonna have to bring in, 4, 5, 6 feet of fill, which is gonna cost a portion. You're gonna have to take a cut someplace else, which is gonna add to the cost. And so I'm a little concerned about the effect that may have on the ability for people to make improvements or redevelop or rebuild on those properties. But I'll work with them on that moving forward, but I wanted to get this in front of you, get it on your agenda so we can move forward and have it done in February. We had a hearing on it in December, that's plenty of time. This council could adopt it in January at the latest. And that's, still 6 weeks before their deadline. It'll be plenty of time, we'll be effective by then for us.
Good. So there's nothing we have to do tonight?
No action, no. So I'll put this in an ordinance format. If you need to adjust anything after talking with legal, we will. If we do, I doubt it'll be very much. And then but again, I didn't want to schedule a hearing and give you an ordinance and have you go, what is this and why are we posting a hearing on it already? I've never seen this before and I have no idea what's going on. So, yeah.
This all came about also, this doesn't have anything to do with the fire department.
No, this is not. No, this is a FEMA thing that FEMA redid the flood maps, and they made us modify our ordinances.
Is there anything we need to do in regards to the fire department?
No. No.
Okay. And the boundary of the floodplain has changed imperceptibly, minuscule compared to.
Very minor.
right now.
Just when we looked at our master plan, we looked at floodplain zone at that point, and that's when the maps got changed,
We did
wasn't it?
we did the zoning ordinance work, and so when we created this River's Edge district, because we had a lot of issues. Your floodplain is huge. It encompasses like a third of town, like a third of your city is a floodplain. So it's not like in some of these communities where it's just like this little creek and it doesn't affect anything. This affects thousands of properties. And so we looked at it at that time, and so we overlaid just for illustrative purposes what was then like a 2009 draft. And so I compared that to the 2023 version that they sent me. I overlaid them, and they're almost exactly the same. So it's not like the floodplain's gotten any bigger, that base flood elevation has gone up or down at all. It's virtually the exact same thing. It's a little more exact. But this is 40 years.
Can you argue with them?
I don't know.
I'm just curious.
I haven't tried.
FEMA has like a public process like they had a year ago. That's about all you could,
Yeah.
because it's all dictated off what FEMA does.
And all those government agencies have like a really good comment period for this kind of stuff. But I've not heard anybody appealing or something.
Go pick a fight with them, let us know how it turns out.
I prefer not.
Thank you. Staff report, Sue? Mike, any updates or anything on your mind? Thank the city council again for joining us tonight. Appreciate it very much.
You're welcome. I'll show up anytime.
Well, you get to speak next. Commissioner remarks. Marty, since you've already covered.
Christmas through Lowell is this week. Town will be busy. Hope everybody attends and everybody has lots of patience getting up and down our main street, because if last year's any indication, it's going to be
Event.
yes. That's it.
Dave?
Good.
Amanda? The only thing, again, I'd like to thank the city council for joining us tonight, and I think we're in pretty good shape. And Mike, if you have any questions, ask Andy, don't ask me. No.
No video.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
Amanda wants to stay. She's like, I don't want to go home to the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, I should go.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.